Diving into our second lesson on S-Corps, we saw our first one, which dealt with the eligibility and election for an S-Corp, as well as just other factors with them. We will see those being referenced as well because these lessons go hand in hand. They're the only two lessons on S-Corps. Now we're going to deal more with calculations. We'll see a lot of different ways that the questions could ask. Lots of sims to be had from here, lots of multiple choice questions. Make sure you know it. Let's dive into our objectives. First off, and a lot of these you'll see are similar with regular C corporations. So similar with C corporations, here we want to calculate the shareholders basis in the S-Corp stock for tax purposes. We can see lots of questions to ask about what's the shareholders basis, what's the S-Corp's basis, what is the gain and loss on either side, what is the gain or loss on a third party. There's a lot of different questions to be asked, and we're going to go through all of them in this lesson. We also want to analyze shareholder transactions with an S-Corp, just like we had the entity owner transactions with C Corps, to determine the impact on the basis as well as any gains and losses. Thirdly, here we want to calculate the realized and recognized gain and loss on any property contributions or also distributions and just any transactions overall. We also want to calculate the allocation of S-Corp income after the sale of a shareholder's share in that S-Corp stock for tax purposes. That's important as well. This is an asset, right? The shares of an S-Corp are an asset. And what happens if you buy and sell them? Well, it depends on your basis, depends on the selling price. We'll talk about that. We also want to calculate ordinary business income or loss for an S-Corp, just simply put, kind of just like with C Corps. What is the overall tax liability? What's your profit or loss? Just kind of doing the face of the 1120S. We also want to analyze the shareholders' impact on an S-Corp, their loss in excess of result in shareholders' basis for tax purposes. And lastly, we want to analyze the federal income tax implication to the shareholders and to the S-Corp resulting from shareholder contributions and loans, as well as S-Corp distributions and loans. Really, anything here that is going to happen could happen in a C Corp, but what's the effect? The effect will be different. Just a reminder, you can see a sim where you've got a lot of different information, and it can say, what's the impact on the shareholder if this was an S-Corp? What's the impact if this was a C Corp? What's the impact if this was a partnership? So again, a lot of the information could be the same. Here's the profit loss, here are the income items, and that's going to change because corporations have different treatment for charitable contributions than flow-through entities. What about the taxability of municipal interest? All of these different components. What's the impact on the basis? So be prepared for a sim that has that same information for all types of entities, and then you have to understand the differences in the treatment depending on the entity that's provided. All right, well, let's actually get started. Let's get into it. I know you're just itching and scratching, ready to get going. Let's dive right in. Hey there. Are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material. We'll do it together. Tap into the power of CPA.examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started, so why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.